Today we're going to learn how to draw and shade eyes. Notice how I drew a lemon-shaped or football-shaped eye. You don't want to do this. Instead, do something like this on the right. Here's a closer look in just a second. Now I'm going to draw a larger eye just so that you guys can see a little bit better. I'm also going to add the tear duct in on the left. I'm thinking about the whole shape of the eye too, so now I'm going to draw a large sphere, and that represents the whole eyeball sitting underneath the eyelid. And then kind of reaffirm some of those lines from that circle to show where the eyelid is wrapping around the eyeball. Next thing I want to do is draw the underside of the top eyelid and the top side of the bottom eyelid. This is kind of how you're going to make or break your drawing, right? So the difference between a novice drawer and someone who includes these little lines in between the upper eyelid and the lower eyelid, that's going to really give dimension to your eye, and it's going to make it look more realistic. Next thing I'm going to do is draw the whole iris. Notice how we only see a part of it. For the most part, since this eye, we're going to say, is looking straight forward at us, it's going to be centered in the eye. Your pupil is always going to be in the center of your iris, no matter what direction it's looking at. And then you can add a small highlight. Let's say you're drawing two eyes at the same time. If you add a highlight at the top right of the pupil, you want to add your highlight to the top right of each pupil in both eyes. So keeping your highlights in the same position, in the same spot in both eyes if you decide to draw two. So here's kind of the basic final shape. I'm using a regular school pencil, and the reason I chose to do this was I know that many of you might not have specific supplies at home, but I still wanted to show you how we can still get a good amount of values using a regular pencil. It's better to use an actual wood pencil than a mechanical pencil. Mechanical pencils, the lead is usually even lighter, and it's going to be really hard for you to shade. So if you're using a mechanical pencil, put it down, grab a regular one, or if even better, if you have art supplies with different pencils that have different grades like HB and anything darker, that's perfect. So one of the key things and tips that I talked about in the PowerPoint was that the eyelid wraps over the eyeball. And in order to show that, what artists do is usually shade the white of the eye. That's because the eyelid is creating a shadow over the eyeball, so the white of the eye is not actually white at all. The lightest spot in your drawing should be the highlight, and the darkest spot should be your pupil. And that's really just to get the viewer to focus in that section, right? The place with the most contrast. usually on the lower lid, where you can see the top of the lower lid, that is sometimes brighter than the actual white of the eyeball. I'm adding in some eyelashes. I usually don't like to add too many, but I know this is a drawing, so I figure I can show you how to draw quite a few eyelashes. Now, I'm going to be making a video on how to paint an eye, which is very similar. It's just using a different medium. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope this was very helpful. Have a good one.